Welcome back to what is Season 3 of Steady Rollin' Man Presents Masks Nyarlathotep. Can you believe it? Season 3 already. How did we get here? Well, via a steamship, actually. So here we are in Southampton, ready for our trip to London. No more further ado, let's hand you over to our Keeper of Secrets to see if our brave adventurers can unlock the same sort of trouble in London that they did in New York.
So, as we ascertained last time, during the voyage, Blake was going to spend most of his time, has been spending most of his time on deck, trying to use a shotgun better, and Lex was spending a lot of time. I can't remember what we were doing. Was swimming, wasn't it?
He was swimming. Yeah.
Swimming. Yeah. But Stanton and Jacob have been reading one of the books that you recovered from the Carlisle Library. So I've sent you both the initial kind of that basically summarises what you ascertained from the book between the two of you reading it on the first day of your voyage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess the question is going to be: do you want to continue reading it? That's just like your first impression, like a skim read of the book, similar to what you did on Africa's Dark Sex previously,
Right.
Adam.
Mm-hmm.
But Stanton hasn't returned to the tome. But this one, so I've given you your kind of info and effects of what's happened so far for you reading the book. And the question is, do you want to continue reading it for the remainder of the voyage?
I think it'd be a good idea for us to look at the other books to see what they contain and to get a feel for those, and then maybe go back.
Without kind of talking from a rules perspective, you can't really you can't do the same, or you can't be reading two books at the same time. Essentially, you have to. Because it's not a case of just flicking through like a normal book. It's like that's taken you a whole day just to get a feel of it. So, it's such an involved process.
Yeah, so if back to square one, maybe
the audio book.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to look at all the other books, you can, but from a game effect perspective, it's not going to help you.
Okay. Right. In that case,
well, perhaps if we share with Douglas and Lex what we've discovered so far, and then discuss whether we are going to go further.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the one that was sort of it's a low, poorly bound in scarred human skin over wood. It's a fairly short book. It's about 150 pages. It's handwritten in a brown and black scrawl that occasionally fades out. It seems to be an autobiography of someone called Montgomery Crompton, mainly focusing on his experiences as an initiate and a priest in something known as the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh. It soon sort of degenerates into a catalogue of all the horrific deeds performed by Crompton and his so-called brothers in hard to read as the diary nears its end, the content and the handwriting just become increasingly incomprehensible, with ramblings about megalomaniac beliefs and atrocities. It looks like he wrote a lot of it from his cell in an asylum. He seems to sort of praise someone called Black Pharaoh or Nivrin Ka, but much of it's sort of sadistic ramblings, concluding with him emphatically stating the belief that he intends to ascend to godhood and wreak unholy vengeance on his captors. It was a really disturbing read. There's some awful atrocities described in the book. I'm not sure how helpful it's going to be if we push on with this one. It's not something I want to go. It's not something I want to go back to, frankly.
It might give us a further insight as to what they were up to in Cairo, and then we may need to search for when we go there. which I'm sure we're going to at some step. But yeah, how much we want to read the detail of these deeds that this Crompton fellow was carrying out is another thing. Personally, I think there must be more to it. There must be more that we can find that is useful.
Well, you're welcome to continue, Stanton, but I need a break from this.
Oh yes, yeah, we certainly don't want to keep going through the night. Spend a day on it, then I think we do need to rest and recuperate, and then pick it up maybe first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, so is that your intention then, to carry on reading this book?
Not
Not
mine,
yours.
Stanton.
Not
I
yours.
think you
No.
you misunderstand
Yeah.
me, Stanton. I don't mean a break. I mean a cessation.
Yes. Well, I'm quite keen to go on. Egyptology is a particular interest and passion of mine. So obviously, I condone or what these fellows have been, but there may be something extra in here that we could find useful. I will still take same precautions as before. But do you intend to start another one of these?
No, I need a break from this. It's too
Okay.
disturbing.
Okay. Perhaps there are some novels we can borrow from the ship's library, and if you're willing to remain in the room while I continue my studies, would that be acceptable?
Well, that would be fine. I'm happy to
Mm,
keep a watch over you, Stanton.
mm. And don't get me wrong, it's taking its toll on me too. Not a pleasant subject that we're investigating. I just feel that the information we may get may outweigh any personal.
Okay, so
Yes.
over the course of the rest of the journey to Southampton, then you're going to continue reading the book. So I'm assuming you're only doing that during daylight hours and when there's somebody with you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. It's quite interesting, those pictures. Did you post those pictures to everybody else as well, Adam?
No, I didn't, because I didn't know when you'd. If
Yeah, it might be.
today, do you want me to do that?
Yeah, do it. It's quite interesting. Yeah, it's quite on the main.
On the main masks.
Yeah.
Okay, I was having a nose. By that I mean I just lifted something from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And got some pictures of the inside of the Majestic.
It used to be a German ship
Yes.
originally, but then it was
yeah.
captured and repurposed.
It was handed over. It was
Mm.
hadn't finished building it in Germany before the war, but finished it after the First War, or the War, Great War. And so the Germans had to hand it over. War reparations for a ship that had been sunk by them. So the workers kept sabotaging it as they were building it, but eventually it made its way into the White Star's fleet.
There you go then. And you have the fortune to be riding on it, because budget is no.
And there's the swimming pool, first picture.
Douglas is still in shock that apparently there's another war coming.
There's always going to be another war, unfortunately. Always has been. Always will be.
Cheery.
I didn't realise that was a 200 character limit on sending messages. That's really annoying.
It's all right, there are only 4 of us. Thank you. I'm here all week.
Right, I'm going to send you some. I'm sending you some snippets from the remainder of your reading. Some pertinent paragraphs. Okay, Stanton.
Stanton's lost his mind already.
Yeah, bear with me if I do this. Okay, are you still there, Adam?
Yes, I am.
Cool.
So I'm immersed in this
Mm-hmm.
wake text.
So those are pertinent paragraphs that over the next eight or so days you kind of mark as being particularly of interest, specifically around the kind of areas that you're trying to read around. A lot of the book is quite difficult to. Well, a lot of the diary is quite difficult to translate and understand because of the nature of especially towards the end. But that gives you a good kind of summary of the interesting bits.
So would it be an issue for me to transcribe that so the others can read it?
That's fine. You can do that. Yeah, you can do whatever you wish with it. So, unfortunately, kind of woven in between those things that those kind of paragraphs, quite a lot of despicable acts that you've had to endure whilst reading through the tome. So again, it has a further effect on your state
Yeah.
of mind.
It's horrible that someone can revel in such deeds.
Would it be best if one of us reads it out for the purposes of the tape, rather than or would it best if we sort of...
Okay, so gather round. Are we sitting comfortably? As you won't be after I've finished reading this. When I first met my liege, he appeared as a man, dark as night. He must have disdained my pitiful state as I cowered before him, covered in blood and filth. And yet, unlike the swarthy men, brought me to this dank chamber beneath the pyramid, he showed mercy. A thin veil, a thin smile, crossed his shadowy mien, and he extended a hand to the pustulant wound of my chest. Immediately, the burning subsided, replaced by a glowing warmth, such as one found in many bottles of wine. But my head was perfectly clear, my aches relieved. In a hushed voice, only to me, he revealed his secret. He would pry the world from the clutches of unworthy men, and, as his faithful servant, I would ascend to claim my rightful place at his side. He would oversee the ignorant cattle and instruct them in the ways of the true ancient gods. I finally felt relief. The empty ache in my soul that had yearned for mastery of my lessers found its purpose. I would be free. With a word, he affirmed his promises. A single guttural tone arose from his perfect mouth, and the coward that beat me most unfairly melted in the dark flames where he stood. Enraptured, I watched him burn. The wretch struggled against us in the dark of the alley, but his withered frame was no match for me and my brothers. This was to be my first offering to my lord. My body was racked with the purest ecstasy, while I bludgeoned the weak mortal again and again with my sacred tool. His face was a soft pulp, and his limbs quivered as I held the piercing end of the cudgel aloft. I revelled in his burbling inanities. After several exquisite moments, I sensed the full presence of my dark master in my soul, and I immediately spiked the beggar's heart. Elated by his final agonized scream, I could feel my new life beginning. Empowered as a willing servant to my black pharaoh, we ate the man's liver in the shadows. The pathetic unwashed crowds of Cairo passed by in the street, ignorant of our ancient secrets. I arrived at the merchant's just before midnight with the unsuspecting sacrificial virgin. The well-fed, smiling shopkeeper greeted us at the door. At his feet purred a gorgeous white cat, which hissed threateningly as I offered it a morsel of flesh from my pocket. Our middle-aged host led us down into the cool air of the shop cellar, amiably speaking with the offering. Here, in the heart of Cairo's largest bazaar, I would finally meet the pharaoh's high priest. I struggled to contain my ardor as my young companion sipped the wine prescribed by her faith from a crude ceramic vessel. As the merchant lit a torch in the dark corner, the implements of the harvesting became clear. The cup shattered on the floor as the girl attempted to flee, but blessed words emerged from the mouth of the merchant. An unseen force crushed her against the wall, rendering her limp and ready. I threw myself before the smiling spice trader, Nivrim Ka's greatest sorcerer and beast. Its angles were magnificent and most strange. By their hideous beauty I was enraptured and enthralled, and I thought to myself, out of the daylight fools who had judged the housing of this room as mistaken. I laughed for the glory they missed. When the 6 lights lit, and the great word said, then he came, in all the grace and splendour of the higher planes, and I longed to sever my veins, so that my life might flow into his being, and make me part of a god. And make part of me God. And that is it. Clearly insane. And as Jacob said, despicable acts.
This
I'm
what
not
awaits
sure.
us in Cairo.
Yes. Not sure how that helps us. There's nothing specific. But maybe some other clues will point us in the direction of the merchant spy shop. And if they continue to form these deeds, hopefully we can stop them.
Okay, so you've obviously shared that revelation with everybody. So the journey moves on. Is there anything else anybody wants to do before you reach journey's end?
Nope.
No.
Douglas, what? I hear the Brits don't like guns. Are we going to have problems?
Yes, if you get caught with it. So I would suggest that you probably don't walk around with it armed.
Well, I was thinking
Slot-
more about how we get it through.
Through customs.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally from the boat to the land.
Well, put them in your trunks and hope that they don't search them.
Put them in Stanton's trunk and hope that that search them. Got it.
Yeah. So what are you going to do with your guns?
Put them in the trunks and hope they don't search them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's pretty much the only choice we've got.
Have to
You
take the Englishman's advice. And if they do search them, I'm going to, I don't know. Oh, I didn't understand, eh?
Okay.
Just plead ignorance as to the law.
Or we may see if we can speak to a member of the crew who's maybe willing to take them ashore for us within the supplies they unload. Maybe
High
easier done that
risk.
way.
Yeah, do you
No.
want to take that risk?
Yes.
No.
No.
Not
Ask
getting
the
anyone
wrong
else involved
person.
down in sanity.
Mm. We're just asking for trouble.
So you're going to store them, and you're going to put them all in your individual trunks. Just hope
Yeah.
and hope for the best.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's cool. After 9 days, the ship finally nears the coast of England. The weather turns colder. Skies are often clouded with mist. The first sight of land, grey and imposing, comes with a sense of relief and renewed purpose. The bustling port of Southampton comes into view, with London still several hours away by rail. As the ship docks, there is a flurry of activity once again. Passengers gather their belongings, porters scurry to assist, and you make your way down the gangway toward the uniformed customs officials that await your arrival. Okay, you need to make. Can I get you to make a luck roll, please, to see whether you're one of the unfortunate individuals who whose trunks are searched by the officious customs officers?
Is this one each?
It's one each. If you will get a bonus die because you're in first class, and there's also a bonus die for if you're English as well.
That's
So-
racist.
Empire.
I'm all right without the bonus die.
Me, not with that.
You get 2 bonus dice. So
Yes.
Okay, so you've got 93 and 83 so far.
Jeez, man. Yeah.
Okay.
So, luckily, being English.
luckily your English accent saved you. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go next.
Ooh.
Oh, I need the bonus die, eh? No, I turned my 78 into a 78.
78.
Fantastic.
Mm.
Can you, everybody else roll first? You can push the roll
Okay.
if you want.
Um,
In the knowledge that if you fail, there's something.
it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll push it.
They're going to deport you.
58.
Is that still a fail?
Well, luck's 50, isn't it? Wasn't it just straight up?
No.
No, everybody's luck's different.
Oh, mine's 50.
Oh,
Okay, righty-ho. Can
okay.
the rest of you roll, please?
Get
It's
rolled into
just
your character, Dave.
Stanton left, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll 20, still being a little slow.
32.
Okay.
Okay, that's good enough.
Okay. So Lex, one of the customs officials, kind of comes over to you and starts a brief conversation on hearing your American accent, as he calls it. He asks you to open. Can you open your trunk, please?
But of
What
course,
have you got in there?
some clothes. I'll show him my hockey puck.
He doesn't even look at it. It just kind of looks. What else have you got in your trunk of any interest? You got what gun have you got in there?
I've got a Colt 1911.
Okay, and anything you've got some of the artifact in there as well, haven't you?
Did we split them?
Think we didn't we? We
Think
yeah.
Yeah, you
Yes.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm afraid, sir. Can you have to come this way? He calls over. He blows a whistle and calls over a couple of policemen. And one of the policemen comes over, kind of takes you by the arm. This way, please. Leads you off. What the rest are you going to do?
Watch. Where is he being taken to? Have they spotted?
Yeah, they've taken.
The weapon.
He's found the gun. One of the customs officials pulled the gun out. He looked at him and just called the police over.
Okay. I'll follow him.
I'm assuming
Well-
that you don't have any permit or license for this weapon. You're not in the Wild West now, you know.
It's my service weapon from my time in the Royal Navy.
Yes, but it's not licensed in England, is it?
No, sir. Just Canada, where I come from.
Smuggling illegal weapons into the country is a very serious offence.
I didn't realise that. I apologise.
Well, it's too late now, isn't it? Can't say that you didn't realise, because of course you knew. That's the trouble with you lot over there. I think you can
What,
bring your
Canadians?
dirty habits. Well, Canadians, Americans are all the same.
Feel that way during the war, sir, but okay.
So the policeman kind of grabs your arm, well, not grabs your arm, but leads you by the arm away towards a nearby customs building. The rest of you kind of just wave through.
Okay.
Take
think-
my bags. I'm going to see if I can get him out of this.
All right.
Yep,
We'll
no problem.
We'll take all the trunks and everything else to make
Mhm.
sure they get through.
Yeah, we need to get these
Away
very
from
quickly.
here so that they don't start searching this stuff.
Yep, as quickly as we can. Look around for a porter or two to take us to a taxi.
Okay, are you going to try and catch them up, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to speak to the customs officer, not the policeman that
Not
are
the
taking.
policeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Um,
Go on, move along. You're already through. Go on, off you go.
Excuse me, sir. I couldn't help but notice that you have taken that gentleman over there into custody.
Yes, just get fed up of people coming over here thinking they can hide guns. It's not the Wild West here, is it? I mean, just so tiresome. They always plead ignorance. Oh, we didn't know. Yes, of course you didn't know. They know. They just can't get away with it. Just because he's travelling in first class.
No, I quite understand. He's not the brightest. That's a bit of a slip on his part. Unfortunately, I think you may be have just stumbled upon an ongoing investigation. Let me introduce myself. I'm Detective Sergeant Blake of Scotland Yard. I'll flash in my warrant card.
Okay.
I have been travelling over from New York on this ship. I've been actually trailing that gentleman because he is suspected of being part of a smuggling ring.
Right.
Unfortunately, the fact that you've just taken him into custody risks a larger operation. I am supposed to be trailing him until he meets his contact in London later today. I'm not interested in him, but we are very interested in the people that he's meeting, as we believe they are part of a much larger smuggling ring, actually smuggling firearms and other contraband into Britain from the New World.
Oh, well.
And the fact that you've just taken him into custody has potentially put at risk an 18-month operation that is just about to come to an end.
Oh well. Obviously, wasn't to know that, was I? What? So, well, can you make a fast talk roll, please? And can you get a bonus die because of your warrant as well?
Well, boom, that one. Hang on, and even better.
Can you show me that warrant card again?
Yeah, but of course.
How's a look at it? So you're saying that why have you been following him over from Canada then, or wherever you've come from?
No, from New York, because I've been over there liaising with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We believe that the organisation that he has been working with has been smuggling military equipment. I believe that they were all originally knew each other during the Great War, and we picked up some suggestion of this ring during my work in Scotland Yard down in London, and then I transferred over to the US in order to assist with their investigations. And we managed to discover that he was coming over to negotiate changes in the agreement with the parties in London. And so I was following him back to see if we could identify who the main players were here. Hence my return on the same ship as him.
Okay, so I'm going to give you another go on that fast talk roll. This is going to count as a pushed roll, though, so you get that bonus die again because I think your story is plausible. But if you fail this one,
No, I passed it.
okay.
Let's see whether I can pass it even better. No.
No, let's ignore that. Well, I suppose maybe I was a bit harsh. I've had one of those days today.
No, not at all. You're doing your job. It's exactly what we would hope and expect. But we need to try and find some way that he can be released on his way without arousing his suspicions. Perhaps.
Well, I'll just go and have a word with the policeman and to get him to be given a stern talking to, and then release him.
That would be very much appreciated. Sorry,
Well,
could I take your name? Because
his weapon will have to be confiscated, though.
no, of course I would expect nothing less, because that would raise a suspicion if you returned it to him.
Yes, of course. My name is George Mowbray.
I'll make a note of that. Thank you. Your cooperation will be recognised.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Well, I've got a big queue of people here now. So yes, sorry, officer, if you could go back to your business, I'll make sure that I speak to the policeman in due course.
Okay, I shall make myself scarce. I would not wish for him to see me loitering. Thank you very much for your time. It's very much appreciated.
He smiles wanly at you and turns back to the remainder of his passengers that he needs to deal with. Okay. Presently, Lex, after being sat in the office of the customs office, with the policeman in the same room as you, doing some sort of admin work. You've been there for maybe about 20 minutes when the customs official who originally found the gun comes in, has a quick chat with the policeman in the back room, and then comes out. You're free to go. Please respect the laws of England when you're here. Obviously, we will retain the firearm, but on reflection, I consider that maybe it was a mistake after all.
Thank you, officer. That's very much appreciated. As one member of the Empire to another. Give me that little cheeky smile.
He smiles, opens the door for you. Okay, you find yourself back outside in the docks. Okay, are you all going to head towards the train terminal to get your final connection through to Southampton?
We will.
Docks to the centre of Southampton, and then from Southampton, are we heading straight to London? What's the time?
No, could always get a sleeper.
Yeah,
Not that far though, is it?
No, it's only a few hours. You'll arrive in Southampton at about 4:00 in the afternoon if you get the next train.
That's plenty of time to get from central Southampton into London and find a hotel.
Mm.
Should we do that? Just go straight to the main city?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is there any sign that anyone has been following us? I'd keep an eye out as we leave the port and head for the train station.
During the whole of the voyage, you've been obviously vigilant, and now you've not seen any. There's nobody waiting for you as far as you can see. I'm assuming now that without you having to tell me all the time that you're constantly looking out for being followed because of what's happened previously.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally paranoid.
Yeah. Okay. So later on that afternoon, you find yourself in the Southampton terminus. The station at Southampton is a hub of energy with steam locomotives hissing and clanking. Their massive iron frames exhaling plumes of white smoke into the grey sky. The sound of the engines fills the air, a rhythmic blend of clattering wheels and the hiss of steam, while conductors call out destinations and passengers hurry to board. You present your tickets, step onto the platform and board one of the polished wood-panelled carriages that trail behind a sleek black tender engine. You stow your luggage overhead and settle into the plush seats. The whistle blows sharp and commanding, and the train begins to move with a lurch, the station slowly falling away as the journey to London begins. As the train gains speed, the landscape outside the window starts to blur into a patchwork of green fields, hedgerows and small villages. Weary from your ocean voyage, but invigorated by the novelty of travelling by rail, you watch as the English countryside rolls by. Okay. Soon the rhythmic sound of the steam and the wheels is enough to, make you all feel quite quite sleepy, and you can feel like
Doze.
all of you kind of dozing. You've got your own first class carriage. There's nobody else. First class compartment. Sorry, there's nobody else in it. It's just the four of you in the compartment. So other than the conductor, who comes to who just like occasionally see wandering up and down the passage. You don't really get any disturbances, so you're just going to rest and sleep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to
Yes.
enjoy the countryside. I find this really quite exciting. But
Okay.
maybe a little rest. It's
You,
quite cool being here.
You press your face to the window like an excited child watching the green and pleasant land,
Yep.
whooshing past outside. Still mildly offended that the customs official seems to think you're an American. Not.
Not mildly.
Well, he's from Hampshire. What would you expect?
Okay, so yeah, you just the train journey passes uneventfully, and finally the train pulls into London Victoria Station with a final hiss of steam, the sound of brakes screeching as it comes to a stop. The platform is a hive of activity. Passengers disembarking, porters moving to assist, the clamour of voices mixing with the clatter of doors, and opening of the train cars being uncoupled. You gather your belongings and step off the train. Okay. You're greeted by the vast iron and glass canopy of the station, which looms above them like a giant cathedral to industry. The air is thick with the energy of London, the heart of an empire, a city teeming with life, secrets and danger. You stand on the platform of Victoria Station, taking it all in. The journey has been long, but you've finally arrived. London awaits, and the shadowy threads of Roger Carlyle's ill-fated expedition calls you into the unknown. Okay, you make your way off the platform, and you can see that everywhere there are posters everywhere advertising the reopening of the British Empire exhibition at Wembley Park. There are handbills being handed out advertising the Chelsea Arts Club ball on February the 22nd at the Royal Albert Hall. Cost £1 all the fun of the fair and more. There's newspaper hawkers selling the Times, the headline of which is Dawes plan in operation, Germany to receive £1 million immediately in effort to stabilise economy. You make your way out and you feel the cold, damp air of London. Okay, you're now standing just outside Victoria Station.
Is that the time already?
The
We should
clock strikes 4.
find a hotel, gentlemen.
Yes, absolutely. Get some decent rest. Pretty exciting coming across the countryside, but still pretty sleepy.
Yes. So good to be back in Blighty. Would you not agree, Douglas?
Well, bittersweet, shall we say?
Ah, of course. Yes. Sorry, I forgot for a moment.
Well,
Somewhere close by.
I was thinking, given the money, we should go to the Savoy.
Is that
Yes, you're quite right.
that the normal sort of place that you would have gone to, Douglas, when you lived in London?
Hardly.
Yes,
But,
yes, of course. The Ritz is right done.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know these places.
there's the as you probably already know, the nearest hotels in terms of the upmarket hotels. You got the Savoy on the Strand, the Waldorf Hilton in the West End, the Ritz in Mayfair, Brown's Hotel in Mayfair, and then the Royal Court Hotel in Sloane Square are the kind of 5-star hotels that are all within easy walking distance of Victoria Station. Yeah, Claridge as well.
Would we like to? I don't know. Do you want
Yeah.
to go somewhere slightly less conspicuous?
I guess
Or-
the only consideration from your is that you previously all wanted to have a suite all together, didn't you? I presume. I don't know whether you're still looking at that. Whether you're happy with individual rooms now.
Well, if we can find adjoining rooms.
In my experience, people don't pay attention to what rich folks do.
Well, this is true.
If we can swing it, maybe Brown's sounds nice. I don't know these places.
Do you like the same? Well, Browns take rooms, and then we all sleep in the same room, or we just pair
We
up.
haven't made any enemies in London yet.
Yeah, well, we might have brought enemies with us. We don't know. Or the enemies could be waiting for us.
Plus, Douglas already had enemies in London.
Yes, well, there is that.
Yes, some enemies I made earlier.
Fair point. Perhaps 2 rooms and we pair up sounds probably the safest. And
Well, I might
sounds-
suggest that we take 4 rooms and 2 of us, and then we pair up without informing the hotel staff that that's what we're doing. Because, one, I should remind you that homosexuality is an abomination, 1, and 2, illegal. So, gentlemen sharing rooms perhaps maybe frowned upon. And 2, if we were unfortunate enough to attract attention, it would double the chances that they would go into a room first that was empty. So we would have 4 rooms, only 2 of which would be occupied.
So would a suite with 4 rooms be a better idea then?
If such things are available.
Because obviously we'd have to continue the ruse for housekeeping. Beds
you
being
just
slept in and all that.
They wouldn't. How are they going to report back? As Lex said, they wouldn't care. I think housekeeping may gossip, but the fact that a bed was not slept in, I think they would be pleased that they didn't have to make up the bed.
Let's not overthink it. Let's just
exactly.
find a nice
Exactly.
hotel
Let's
and
go and get 4.
rooms.
Let's just go and get 4 rooms, and then we can discuss keeping arrangements as we drive.
Okay.
Take a black cab to Browns, seeing as Lex chose Browns.
Well, actually, interestingly enough, outside of
Is it that
Victoria
close?
Station, there is like the majority of the cabs are still Hansons.
Oh,
There's the odd car, but the majority is still horse and cart at this juncture. But either way, it's a very brief journey from where you are to Browns in Mayfair. Okay, right. You should hopefully now be able to see the London landing platform on Roll20.
Yep.
oh yes.
Cool. So where you are is just obviously those of you that are familiar with London will know anyway, but it'll be just up here. Bar number 25 is just to the left of there is Mayfair, just above where Buckingham Palace is. So that's where Brown's Hotel is.
I've slept in that park.
Yeah, I've had a pee in Green Park against the street.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so yeah, the rooms at at Brown's Hotel are 15 shillings and sixpence per night,
Yes.
which is quite expensive. It's almost £1 a night, which is works out at about 500 quid a night in our money.
Yeah.
But it's you're worth it. It's a very opulent and lovely area, as you know. You feel very safe once you're inside the hotel. You can't get they do suites, but they only have 2 rooms. But you can get 2 adjoining suites with a door in between, in the middle.
Oh yes.
Okay.
We get that. That's us.
Yeah.
Okay.
The K-pop suite.
So once you've checked into the hotel and had all your baggage taken up to your rooms and settled in yourself, it's about coming up to about 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's obviously dark outside now. It's the journey has taken you in total just over 9 days. It's now Monday the 9th February. All is quiet as you sit in your plush room looking at each other.
Well, what's the plan, gentlemen?
Well, we certainly do need to go to the Penhew Foundation. I think that's possibly number 1 on our list. And see what they can tell us about the Carlisle expedition. If there are any more details about that. I am quite certain that my father was friends with Salisbury Penhew when they were at university together. So, although obviously he disappeared on the expedition, maybe a telegram mentioning that or a letter from my father could be useful for us. I'll need to telephone him or send him a telegram. Maybe we could, if I could try to organise that over the next day or so.
Well, if you sent him a telegram, and then perhaps we'll
wait
go
for a letter.
dinner. We might be able to get there tomorrow.
Or I still think tomorrow's pushing it. Because obviously telegram would have to go from the post office to the house.
You'll be surprised how amazingly efficient the postal service was back in the 20s. You could quite often send a letter in the morning and get a reply in the afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
faster than a lot of communication these days.
Oh,
Um,
Stanton,
Yes,
just try. The best you can do.
yes.
will
Yeah,
be
stop,
just
stop
try.
gibbering, man, and call your dad.
Ask him to
Yes.
ask him to contact Edward Gavigan, the director of the Penhew Foundation.
Yes, or
That's the chap whose business card Jackson had.
yes, or at least mentioning address the letter of introduction to him. I'm feeling a letter might be more helpful for us.
Okay, so you're going to go off.
Yes, I'll
Actually,
go
you don't
down
need to.
to.
You don't
this
even need to go. You don't even need to go down because this hotel is such that it's even got phones in the rooms as well.
Well, in that case, I'll make the call.
Okay.
Been a while since I've spoken to him.
Okay. Right. What the rest you doing? Anything or nothing?
Sleeping.
Okay.
We need to eat.
Room service.
Works.
Well, there is a
works for
restaurant
me.
downstairs, so we could go to the restaurant. What, the bar?
What do you recommend, Douglas? What's a good English meal?
Ooh, whatever you fancy. Obviously,
Roast beef.
classic. You could have a beef Wellington.
Mhm.
I know what I'm.
Another beef Wellington.
I know what I'm looking forward to the most. It comes in a handle. It comes in a handle, and it's a big pile of liquid that you can't get in New York.
Brown and tastes like the river.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
Ah.
I'm less excited now.
I
Although,
should have stayed in
here,
Canada.
would
I'm sure they
suggest
don't serve that here, though.
maybe tuna or crab for starter, then venison or lamb for a main.
Oh, lamb would be nice.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I guess some of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could definitely go.
And then perhaps cheeses for dessert or an Amalfi lemon tart.
And a
Oh,
decent
Jesus.
scotch as a nightcap.
Oh, we could transfer to the bar. Then right, we shall adjourn to the dining rooms, then the restaurant, and then to the bar afterwards. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we may die.
Wait, what?
Thank you, Douglas. Glad to be back.
Okay. So you're going to go. You're leaving Stanton on the phone. Stanton's waiting for his father for this call to be connected. Of course, you obviously the rest of you, I guess, go down and have a drink, some food. Stanton joins you shortly afterwards.
Well, friends, I have excellent news. Delightful to speak to my father. I'm hoping that maybe I'll have time to go up and see him in one of the. And while we're here, certainly dropping in on my brother. He should be in London at the moment. But yes, anyway, I digress. The letter will be with us presently. Noon tomorrow, hopefully.
Then we can have a relaxing time and discuss.
Mm.
What else do we have to after the meeting? Is there anything else specifically we need to? There was a police officer, wasn't there, that we need to speak to? Barrington, and a visit to the Scoop newspaper, scandal sheet that it is.
Yes, I remember the Scoop. Do we know where their offices are?
Fleet Street.
Okay.
I think that Jackson mentioned a journalist called Mickey Mulhoon.
Is that far from here, Douglas?
Not that far.
Oh, good.
Probably 10, 15 minutes, depending on the traffic.
Okay, good. It's
You
nice.
go in
It's-
one of these quaint horse and carts that they seem to have here.
It's good. Everything's quite compact. I like it. It's not like New York.
No.
Okay, so you're going to have a nice, relaxing dinner and then drinks. I mean, it's just such a weird concept for you guys being used to sitting in public drinking alcohol. It's quite weird. But yeah, okay. So nothing else to do this evening.
No, not particularly.
No.
What was the name of the journalist at Scoop again?
Mickey Mulhoon.
I need to check my notes as to how he referenced him. What was yeah, maybe Jacob, you already have your notes to hand. Does he? What was the relevance of Mulhoon?
I do have them to hand. I've just lost the Jackson. It came from Jackson. Jackson mentioned to Carlton. It was Carlton who told us about this. That Jackson had spoken to the Scoop journalist Mickey Mulhoon. That's really all I've noted.
No, very well. In which case, we just try and meet this Mulhoon chap and find out what they spoke about. Well, obviously, he was trying to track down information about the expedition, but why specifically this journalist? Interesting. Well, I mean, maybe there's the reason why. Maybe it was something that had previously been published. Maybe we should. Well, I was going to say take a trip to the British Library and see if we can find previous issues of the Scoop to find out what Mulhoon had written about previously that might be relevant. But it would be quicker just to ask him.
Yeah.
And then when we offend him in some way and he doesn't tell us anything, then we can go to the British Library.
At least we're learning.
Always have a backup plan.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So yeah.
We're going to sit around and do nothing until Stanton's dad delivers.
Well, I think we might have to take it carefully. Obviously, he's quite keen to hear of any information about what happened to Sorbury. So there are friends at university I mentioned. So yes, any leads that we can follow up, any conclusions to that mystery. Not only would I'm sure Mr. Gavigan be interested, but others too.
Well,
Okay.
is this a conversation that you wish to take the lead on then, Stanton, given your family connections?
Well,
I think that might be wiser. He would be.
Well, to introduce, but I'm not exactly the most silver-tongued of us all. I'll certainly do what I can, but as you may have noticed, that occasionally I have, when the pressure's on, I do trip over my words. So yes, I will do what I can.
But it is
try my
terribly
best.
becoming. It is, it reminds me of a young Hugh Grant.
Friend of yours in the force, was he?
Yes, young up and coming actor in the moving pictures.
Okay. Right. You retire. And then so you're going to retire and sleep in and wait until the arrival of the letter from Stanton's father. Is that what, you're not going to do anything in the morning?
Nope.
Okay.
A hearty breakfast, certainly.
Okay. So
Kidneys. That's kidneys for breakfast. Kippers.
Kippers.
Kippers for breakfast. The night passes uneventfully. You do actually feel, for the first time in a long time, that you've had a proper night's sleep. And even though you know that there are dangers here in London, it feels at the moment they're quite remote. You feel very secluded in this hotel, and it's nice not to feel like every move that you make is being watched. True to his word, by the noon post, the letter of introduction to Edward Gavigan arrives from the Fitzwarren household. So what are you going to do?
Should we call through first and make an appointment, or just head off to Tottenham Court Road?
Perhaps make an appointment first.
I think that would be the polite thing to do.
Okay.
Right.
Who's going to phone? Everyone's looking at each other.
Yes, okay.
I think the Canadian and the Yank are looking at the Brits.
And I think one of the Brits is
I
looking.
think one Brit is looking at the other Brit. Yeah.
I'm looking at the one who's got the letter, and it is whose father's the personal friend of the person we're trying to meet.
Okay.
Well, actually, not.
I'll call him.
Okay, you're going to call the Penny Foundation.
Yes.
Okay. You hear the phone ring a couple of times, and then it's picked up. The operator puts you through. You hear a click. Good morning, Penhew Foundation.
Oh, hello there. Good morning. Yes. I was hoping to make an appointment with Mr. Gavigan, if that's possible.
Mr. Gavigan, you'll need to speak to his personal assistant, Mr. Johns. Would you like me to try and put you through?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Just bear with me. Will you wait for about 30 seconds or so? And again, you hear another click. Johns speaking.
Oh, hello, Mr. Johns. My name's Stanton Fitzwarren. I was hoping to secure an appointment with Mr. Gavigan. My father was friends with Sir Aubrey, and we have a few questions about some of the expeditions of the Penview Foundation. I was wondering if we could talk directly to Mr. Gavigan.
What did you say your name was again, please, sir?
Fitzwarren, Stanton Fitzwarren.
Good. And your father was?
Edward.
And you wish to speak to Mr. Gavigan. Well, let me see when he's next available. Bear with me a second. I will just. Here's some ruffling of paper. Yes. Yes. How about? I can give you half an hour. 3 weeks on Thursday. How's that?
3 weeks on Thursday. I was hoping for something much quicker.
I'm afraid Mr. Gavigan is a very busy man.
Yes.
His time is precious.
Oh dear. Well, I'm sorry. My father, Sir Edward, might be quite disappointed to wait so long. We were hoping to, as I said, discuss some of the expeditions. And
Well, forgive me, sir, but the expedition was quite some time ago now. A sorry affair, of course, and was still feeling the effects of it here in the Foundation. But it's almost 6 years since that happened.
I believe we have a few. I've recently come over from the States. We have some and some more information when I was over there. I was hoping that perhaps we could compare notes.
Okay, well, let me go and have a word. Let's see if I can find Mr. Gavigan, and I will ring you back.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll keep in.
Okay, the phone goes dead at the other end.
Well, James Douglas. Is it 3 weeks? 3 weeks for an appointment. Well, hopefully you can get something sooner. But I didn't really know what to say. Mention my father. Perhaps if he's can't get anything soon, then maybe we could drop by with a letter. See if that helps. What do you think? Any ideas?
How much clout does your father have with these people?
Well, no, they were friends at university. Sir Edward and Sir Aubrey. Of course, with Sir Aubrey now gone, new regime. Depends how dedicated Mr. Gavigan was to his predecessor. You know very little about this man, so I think I may find out later today when this Johns fellow calls back.
It sounds like we need something to attract Gavigan's attention a little more.
Did
Yeah.
you speak to his assistant, did you say, Stanton?
Yes, I did.
Well, I guess our best hope is that Mr. Gowan is more interested in the expedition than his assistant is interested in filling up his diary.
In my experience, such assistants tend to run as interference for busy people. So his default
first
position
answer is always no, isn't it?
Exactly. So we wait for a response, and we're not in any immediate rush. I mean, there are other things we can do until we can arrange a meeting. And if we can't arrange a meeting, then we wait around outside until Mr. Gavigan leaves his office, and then we engage him in conversation on the street.
Yes, we make a meeting.
The book Stanton was studying, Life as a God, is marked property of the Penhew Foundation.
Of course. How could I forget? There. Sorry, as I said, a bit flustered. Yes, I'll mention that.
We've got a book
when they call back. Yes, and they can keep it. Although,
have you finished reading it?
Yep, that's all I can get out of it. Do you think Miss Carlyle would approve of us returning it? Maybe the book was sold to her brother, one route or another.
Why would we want to return it? It's of use to us.
Well, only as a means of getting some attention from the Penhew Foundation. Would Erica Carlyle have any clout with them?
Well, she's rich, so quite possibly. But we don't know that this door has been closed to us so yet, do we?
No.
No, it's just
I'm
opening.
thinking the worst.
It's opening painfully slowly, though.
We're not sure the door's open yet. Waiting for someone to answer. Anyway.
No, this isn't New York anymore, gentlemen. This city does sleep.
Yes, and usually about 4 o'clock in the afternoon onwards. No.
That's probably for you, Stanton.
I'll walk over and answer it. Good morning, Fitzwarren.
Mr. Fitzwarren, we have a call for you coming from Mr. Johns at the Penhew Foundation.
Oh, thank you very much. Please put him through. Put my hand over the mouthpiece. It's Johns. He's calling back.
John speaking. Is that Mr. Fitzwarren?
Yes, Fitzwarren here. Thank you so much for calling me back, Mr. Johns.
That's no problem at all. I managed to track down Mr. Gavigan, and he said he'll squeeze you in this afternoon. How does that suit you?
This afternoon. Oh, well, that's incredible. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I do apologise.
Thank
I
you.
didn't realise Sir Aubrey and your father were such good friends. So yes, Mr. Gavigan is always keen to meet fellow those with a similar interest. So yes, if you would like to come along at 3 p.m. this afternoon,
3 p.m. of course, and I
yes.
shall bring my credentials.
Indeed, he's happy to spare you half an hour.
I'll be delighted to see him and share with him the findings we have.
Will you be coming alone, Mr. Fitzwarren?
No, I have some colleagues that will join me. 3 colleagues.
3 colleagues?
Hmm.
If you don't mind me asking, what would be their purpose? Are they known to you?
No, they're very, very good friends and associates.
Are they academics also, are they?
Of a sort.
Good. I'm sure Mr. Gavigan would be pleased to meet you all. So that'll be 3 p.m. this afternoon then.
Okay, jolly good.
Thank you. Goodbye.
I'll see you then. Cheerio. Wow, that was successful. What are we all doing at 3 p.m. this afternoon?
I'm more concerned that you just called me a sot.
Well, I thought I'd be more offended at being called an academic, but hey ho.
3 p.m.'s too late, Stanton. Phone him back. Arrange an earlier appointment.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Right.
I'm going to wipe the sweat from my brow. What time is it now?
It's about 1 o'clock. It's about lunchtime, actually, funnily enough.
Excellent.
No. We can't spend hours at lunch, especially you, Lex.
Stanton, I'm slightly concerned that you find booking an appointment with a fellow academic more worrying than fighting the zombified husk of one of your previous friends.
Well, you obviously haven't been to some of my lectures. Not the ones I give, obviously.
Did the audience become zombified husks?
No, but the professors were quite terrifying. The withering looks... excuse me. All right. I mean to say that.
Right.
Anyway, yes.
Okay.
3 p.m. Tottenham Court Road.
So you haven't really got any time to do anything else between now and it's only a couple of hours until.
No, we've got time for lunch.
Yeah, light
You've got time
lunch.
for lunch. Yeah, I said yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So after eating a light lunch, or heavy lunch,
First ever
whatever you want.
party of hobbits in Cthulhu.
Yeah, you've got to London, and so far all you've done is you've had dinner, had breakfast, made a phone call, and had lunch. That's
Successful day.
So what you're saying is that we're being more effective now that we're in London.
Absolutely storming it.
Has my size stat increased?
Yeah, we'll do it this way. I tell you. Okay. Yeah. So, are you going to head off towards the Tottenham Court Road at the predestined time?
Yeah. As we go, shall we discuss our approach here and what we're trying to achieve?
I think
we don't have a great deal of information to work with, do we?
Not really. Well, firstly, I'll use my real name. Will you chaps do so also?
Was there any reason why we wouldn't?
Some of the circles in which you move. I was thinking maybe, Douglas, your presence here in London.
No.
Okay.
I'm tired of running. So if it draws somebody out, then all the better.
So I didn't want to put my foot in it.
Should we ask him about Jackson? I mean, Jackson had his business card. We don't know whether Jackson actually spoke to him or not.
Well, that would be a starting point, wouldn't it? We could just well, let's be honest. Yeah, we have been employed to reinvestigate the disappearance of the expedition. We had a colleague and friend who previously was investigating it by the name of Jackson Elias. We understand that he spoke to you. Could you tell us what questions he asked and what you told him?
I think we should tell him about Jackson's death as well, and the fact that
No,
we're
absolutely.
investigating that. You Brits are so horribly polite. I'm sure he'll want to help.
Yep.
And Miss Carlyle, should we mention our association?
We should be totally. We have no reason to believe that there is anything untoward And yeah, if we do tell him something, and it turns out that he cannot be trusted, we won't be telling him anything that he doesn't already know about us or about what happened.
One wonders if he might be a little bit sensitive about the Carlisle expedition.
Potentially.
Might not reflect well on them that their expedition was lost in such tragic circumstances. But perhaps we need to tread carefully on that point.
Well, perhaps that would be a good way to, if it turns out that is how he feels, we could use that to our advantage by suggesting that we are trying to avoid any undue publicity.
Yes, and anything that we do find would be to, as to not necessarily, but maybe absolve blame on the Foundation if they're viewed in a negative light because of it.
So, taking the lead, Stanton, you take the introductions. Jacob,
yes.
would you take the lead?
Yes. So if it's Stanton, if you want to make the introductions, then I'll see if I can make any headway.
We get any undue attention, Douglas, from anyone from your past, I've got your back. But posh clubs, that's not where I shine. So I'll be stepping back on this one.
Very well. We will observe from a distance, I think.
Can I just ask you, Douglas, can you just make a centaur roll for me and tell me what you get, please?
Oh, I won't tell you. I'm going to show you. 8.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So have you concluded your conversation on how you?
I believe so.
I think we have. Yeah.
So the books and the artifacts, where are we going to leave them?
Well, here, I guess. Oh, they'll have safes downstairs. We could ask at reception and just ask for them to be held securely. Put them in a case and ask for them to be kept.
They're probably too big actually to be all kept in a safe because they're not. You'd probably need a strong room to actually fit them in because they're quite sizable. A hotel probably isn't going to have
No.
something big enough.
Well, we can have an hour. We'll just go and find a bank.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Okay. Right. So you're going to go to the bank, go to the nearest a bank, and the Bank of England isn't very far away.
Oops, maybe.
Just going to be back in a minute. I'm just going to go get a glass of water.
Okay.
Any old bank. Don't think the Bank of England would help us. Only of the private banks that we can find.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to go towards. You're going to head out towards the Penny Foundation on Tottenham Court Road via a bank where you're going to deposit all of your.
Yeah. Ill-gotten gains.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the hour of 3 p.m. approaches, and you pay off the cabbie, and you've got out on Tottenham Court Road in front of a grand Victorian 2-story building. That
has it got a number?
Yeah, it has got a number. It is
35.
No, it's not 35.
35 is the War Office.
The War Office. That's the War Office.
I see. Sorry.
The Penny Foundation's number has been taken out because obviously we didn't know you were going to go there originally. It is number
9.
Well, 18 or 13 then.
I'm back.
No, it is actually on there. It's number 9.
It's number 9. Yeah.
Yeah, it is actually on there. So it's just here.
Oh yeah.
Just the north of Tottenham Court Road. Yeah.
I see.
Not far from the British Museum, in fact,
Yes.
which is there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's my office there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Excellent.
You can go and have a look at the Penny Foundation next time, see if it's still there.
That'll be cool.
It won't be. Okay, so yeah, you step out of the cab in front of the large Victorian building that is the Penny Foundation. A high iron fence surrounds both front and rear. There only seems to be one entrance, which is atop a set of stairs that lead up to 2 double doors. You can see there's a doorman on duty on the front door. You're going to head up?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You make your way through the open gates, along the short path, and then up the steps up the grand steps. The doorman says, "Good afternoon. Have you an appointment?"
Yes, we have. Fitzwarren, 3 p.m. with Mr. Gavigan. Arranged with Mr. Johns this morning.
He looks at takes out a scrap of paper, like a little notepad. You're like, "Yep, okay. he opens the door for you. You go and tell the man at the desk there, the clerk, will make sure that you'll see Mr. Johns will come and collect you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good day to you.
Okay, you head into the high-ceilinged foyer with which it's pretty impressive architecture. Really high kind of echoey ceilings, marble floor, as you would appreciate. Lots of Egyptian decorations everywhere. Kind of almost like an island in the middle of a huge ocean. It's like a little desk in the middle, which the clerk sits on. You go up, introduce yourself to him, and he says he'll go and fetch Mr. Johns. There's a passageway that leads off behind the desk. The foyer that you're in has a number of doors leading off it.
I'm just going to marvel at all the Egyptology.
You kind of glance around whilst you're looking around. You glance around the corner. At either side of the entrance doorways, there are two quite large rooms, and you can see a lot of scholars studying pieces over tables, and there are like other pieces, other antiquities that they're studying and reading, and there's quite a lot of a bit of conversation, but it's quite hushed. There's a very academic feel about the whole building. Anyway, presently a short ginger-haired man, in a fairly well dressed, he follows the clerk from the passageway behind his desk and says, Mr. I'm Henry Johns. You must be Mr. Fitzwarren. He kind of looks around you.
Yes, delighted to meet you. I'll hand him the letter.
Thank you. Takes the letter from you, shakes your hand. And your colleagues?
Yes, I'll introduce. This is Mr. Lockhart here, an American antiquarian.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Mr. Blake, an investigator, and Mr. Roy, a friend of ours from Canada.
Would you like to just follow me? I'll take you through to the waiting room. He walks off down the corridor, and again there's pictures of an Egyptian nature hanging on the walls. He probably moves only a couple of about 20 or 30 feet, and then there's a door on the right hand side, and he lets you in. You follow him into a long, thin room that has chairs set out around the walls. Obviously, like some sort of waiting room. If you'd like to just wait here, I will tell Mr. Gavigan that you're here. He goes through another door opposite the one you came in, carrying the letter that you gave him.
Okay. Again, like a child in the sweet shop, I'll be staring at everything. I could quite happily spend the rest of my career here, but of course we have more important things to think about.
He comes. Mr. Johns presently comes back into the room that you're in. Says, Mr. Gavigan will be here shortly to see you.
Thank you.
He goes over to a desk at the far end of this waiting room and sits at it. Opens a drawer, starts shuffling papers and writing, doing some work of some description.
I'll continue looking at all the things on the wall, anything on desk. Just taking it all in. Mr. John's is a marvellous place that we have here. I've always wanted to visit, actually. Bit of a study of Egyptology myself. Been over in New York for the last few years at Columbia there. But yes, always been keen to see more of the Near East.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm glad you like it. Kind of shuffles some papers and carries on writing.
I'll wander back to items. I'll lean over to Jacob. I know what you're thinking, and don't. Not for sale. Although it probably is, because how do they fund all these expeditions? I'm sure they keep the choice stuff themselves, or the British Museum.
Okay, so presently you've been sitting here for about another 15 minutes when the door is flung open and out strides a slim, superbly dressed man, thinning hair, but manicured and clean-shaven. Good afternoon, Mr. Fitzwarren.
Yes, of course. Delighted to meet you, Mr. Gavigan. Thank you so much for seeing us at such short notice.
That's no trouble at all. No trouble at all. I'm sorry if John's a little bit officious initially, but you know how these things are.
Well, of course, you don't want any Tom, Dick, or Harry just turning up here.
Of course. And yes, please come through. Come through. He stands with the door
Okay.
open to his office as you all smiles at you all, shakes you all by the hand as you go through.
I'll introduce Cart, Blake, and Roy again. Similar descriptions.
Delighted to meet you all. Please take a seat. You go through into his office. There's an impressively furnished and finished wood-panelled office.
Well, Mr. Gavigan, as I said, thank you for seeing us at such short notice. I've always aspired to come and see what the Pennyhue Foundation got to offer. In my earlier days, I had dreams of working here, but that's not why we're here today.
Oh, just bear with me a second. He quickly dashes over to the corner of the room, and you realise he's making for a safe, which the door of which is ajar, and he quickly pushes the door to and turns the combination lock. Sorry, one can never be too careful, of course. Sorry, you were saying, Stanton.
Yes. Yes. So, as I might have mentioned to Mr. John, so we've been in New York I've been for a few years, and whilst I was there, I made an acquaintance of a chap who is investigating various cults around the world, and sadly he passed away recently.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And I believe we've been trying to investigate the perpetrators of his death, because his death, unfortunately, was not accidental or natural. I'm so sorry to say he was murdered. He's an author, goes by the name of Jackson Elias. I'm not sure if you've heard of him or had any dealings.
Mr. Jackson Elias. Yes, that name does ring a bell. I believe he came here just before Christmas. Yes, I'm sure he did.
Yes, we were wondering if because he'd been, as I said, investigating different cults, one of which was the sadly ill-fated Carlisle expedition, which we've been looking at.
Yes, well,
and then trying to investigate.
Name mentioned his name. He came here just before Christmas, and he wanted to discuss the work of the foundation. Said he was collecting background research on our involvement in supporting the Carlisle expedition. Yes, and you say he's dead?
I'm afraid so. I'm sorry to say, yes. I think one of the cults that he was investigating didn't take it too lightly. I'll look to the others. That's about the size of it.
That is terrible news. But I'm sorry. How can I help you?
Well, Mr. Gavigan, but perhaps I could explain. And we're so grateful for your time. I appreciate you. You are a busy man, and we don't want to take up too much of it. But as Stanton was explaining,
you tell from your accent, you're American. Where are you from?
New England.
Oh, nice part of the world. I understand.
Have you visited?
I never have been across the Atlantic, but I plan on going at some point.
Must. It's delightful, particularly in the autumn.
Yes, I've heard it said. Yes, sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you. Carry on.
Well, we're here to speak to you, Mr. Gavigan, for two purposes, although they both, I think, may be related. The first is we've travelled to London with the blessing of Erica at Carlisle to investigate and retrace the steps of the ill-fated Carlisle expedition. And as Stanton was explaining as well, we've also recently suffered the terrible shock of the death of our dear friend Jackson Elias, who, I don't think Stanton told you, but was brutally murdered in the most awful fashion in New York. Only recently.
I'm sorry. And he was a friend of yours, was he?
A dear friend of ours. We travelled extensively with him. But these two disparate strands have a common connection. Jackson was also investigating the fate of the Carlisle expedition, and we think that there may be some connection between that and his death. As you can imagine, we're very keen not just to discharge our duties to Miss Carlisle and trying to find out the fate of her brother's expedition, but we also want to try and establish who might have been responsible for Jackson's death. And as I say, these two strands both bring us to you, and we really hope that perhaps in some way you could share some information with us and perhaps assist us in both tasks.
Well, of course, I will do anything I can to assist you.
You say Jackson visited you? Did you? What did you discuss with him?
Well, I said it was a while ago now, before Christmas. What did I discuss with him? Well, he was just asking you about the involvement of the Foundation in the Carlisle expedition, and I mean, obviously, I was pleased to talk about the Foundation's role and the grant funding and assistance with arranging travel permits and the like. But if I'm honest, from memory, the meeting was quite short. After bidding Mr. Elias good day, I never heard from him again. Can't have been here more than 10 minutes.
Did he
Is he
seem?
lying?
Did he seem particularly interested in anything you said?
Well, I don't think I couldn't really give him anything that he didn't seem to already know. Like I said, what we know about the Carlisle expedition isn't really much more than the press have already reported.
Perhaps what is your theory about the fate of the Carlisle expedition?
Well, my theory. I mean, I don't really have a theory. There's obviously was an inquest and all sorts, and you know, I would go by what the official verdict was. Really, it was a shame. It was terrible. I mean, there was maybe a little bit more that we know that the press didn't report.
And what might that be?
Well, I don't know whether you know, but there was an African woman was the catalyst for the expedition. She was the one who instigated it all. And she'd given Rogers some information about a shadowy time in Egyptian history about that Sir Aubrey was interested in. When some sort of legend of an ancient sorcerer was reported to have ruled the Nile. Alas, the information proved to be a hoax. When they arrived in Egypt, the African woman disappeared with all of the expedition's ready funds in the amount of some £3,500. I mean, we are all gentlemen of the world, are we not? Carlyle counted the lost money as insignificant, but he was deeply affected by the defection of his African lover for so fearing the heat and disappointment of Egypt would seriously affect her health, as well as Carlyle's. Miss Masters suggested that the group spend the summer months in the relatively cool Kenyan uplands, affording her a wonderful opportunity to use some new lenses and wildlife. Once there, the group injudiciously entered a dubious territory and, alas, paid for it with their lives. The vast share of the expedition's records were lost, as Sir Aubrey took them along to work on, while matters were still fresh in his mind. Wherever he is, there they are. But that is all we know. There is nothing more that can be said. Time has passed, and it is very sad, but we must get over these matters.
And do you know the name of this African woman?
I believe her name was Bonet or something of that nature. You must appreciate I was not involved to any high extent at that time. It is only since Aubrey's passing that I have come to take on more responsibility and carry on all of the work that he started in honour of his name.
And I'm sure Stanton would be interested as a keen Egyptologist, but this ancient sorcerer, I appreciate you say it was a hoax, but was there a name?
I don't think there was. Or if there was, I'm not aware of it.
What I don't understand is how did this innocent trip to the Kenyan uplands result in such a tragic end?
Well, as per the newspaper reports, and I believe the Foreign Office investigations, they were attacked by local tribesmen who were then subsequently tried and hung for their crimes. Like I said, they were travelling maybe unwisely in areas that should not have been travelled in.
And did you know many of the members of the expedition well?
Other than Sir Aubrey, I really didn't know any of them. They were only here for probably less than 2 weeks. They journeyed here from New York, prepared the expedition here, planned, and then were off. They were all very keen to get away as quickly as they could.
And did they have any particular avenues of interest?
In terms of, what do you mean?
Well, in terms of what they were visiting Egypt to discover. When there's a wealth of information and research here at the Penhew Foundation. Dear Stanton's been like a child in a sweet shop ever since he walked through the door. Was there anything in particular they were seeking information about?
Well, it was initially it was this wild goose chase around this ancient civilization around that existed under the rule of this sorcerer. But this proved to be a hoax, as I said. However, yes, they did turn up some interesting artifacts from other periods, and they were able to dig a number of test trenches to help Sir Aubrey's systemic study of Darshire. Most interestingly, they did find a site west of the Giza pyramids, and dug up some very interesting artifacts from there, and many of which have been loaned to the British Museum. Some of them are being catalogued in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, and we have quite a few of them here. So I'm happy to show you in the exhibition room upstairs if you'd like me to take you up and have a look.
Well, I'm sure
Yeah.
we'd be
Certainly.
only too pleased to see that. Well, I can see Stanton's interested. Why not?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, why would you come here if you didn't want the exhibits? They're very interesting, Stanton. I mean, I can take you up there now if you'd like.
Just before we leave, we're just returning to the meeting with Jackson Elias.
I'm sorry. Before you proceed with that line of questioning, you introduced as an investigator. Could you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
I am actually slightly more than an investigator. I am a police officer with the with Scotland Yard.
Oh, are you here on leisure purposes or for business?
Unfortunately, business, as you can imagine, the issue of the death, the expedition is was a legal matter, but the murder of Mr. Elias, our investigation has led us to you and to other individuals within London. So, going back to my original question, but are you sure there's nothing else you could tell us about your or the Foundation's exchanges with Mr. Elias? Because obviously we're seeking information as to the individuals who were responsible for his murder.
Yes, I understand, officer. Obviously, if I had any more information, I would have already given it to you. I have no reason to withhold anything, but as I've already said, we do not know anything. As I told Mr. Elias at the time, other than arranging for the dig's logistics, we did little else. Funding, just in the way that we would have helped many other digs with their preparation. So I cannot tell you anything else. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that Mr. Elias has met such a grisly end, but I don't really see how that has anything to do with us or the Foundation.
Well, it seems you mentioned that this is a service that you provided for other expeditions, but I would assume that it would be unusual for Sir Aubrey to travel with all the expeditions that were funded. What made this one so special that he felt the urge to join it personally? That surely must have made it special in some way, shape, or form.
Well, of course, in that particular way, yes. I mean, as I said previously, the African woman had promised certain discoveries around a time a time of Egyptian history where Sir Aubrey had a particular interest. And this information that she purported to bring via Roger Carlyle was in relation to that particular time, a shadowy time in Egypt that Sir Aubrey has long been interested in. It was this that piqued his curiosity, and it was for that reason that he decided to attend, to accompany the expedition.
Would you have any notes related to what this woman was offering, or perhaps any notes that Sir Aubrey himself might have left that would provide any information? Obviously, we're dealing with cult here. The kind of period of time, and you have to excuse me because this is obviously not my area of expertise. But would it be possible that cults from that period may still be in existence today?
Oh, well, very very unlikely. I don't think so. No, we're talking about several thousand years ago.
Well, with all due respect, Christianity is also several thousand years old, and we have very many believers of that.
But I wouldn't call Christianity a cult, though, would you?
No, I would call it a religion. Some cultists would define their beliefs as a religion.
I don't really want to get into a theological discussion about it. It's not really my area of expertise, to be honest. But if there's anything else, Mr. Fitzwarren, I can help you with it. Would you like me to show you around the exhibition now?
Oh yes, please, if you could.
Just before we get moving, I'm just going to take my glasses off and clean them with a handkerchief, and
Okay.
and I'll have them in my hand as we sort of get up.
Bless you.
So might we see these artifacts, Mr. Gavigan?
Yes, of course. Follow me. Follow me.
As we leave, I'm going to leave my glasses on his desk.
This is really not my area of expertise. Would you have any objection to me waiting here, or is there somewhere else I could wait?
You can wait us in the main foyer if you wish to.
I'll go with him.
How long would you expect to be?
Well, we won't be any longer than
An hour or two.
I mean, obviously, if it's not your area of expertise, then you're free to leave.
No, I will wait. Sorry, I wouldn't wish to interrupt Stanton's questions with what he would consider to be perhaps amateurish and ignorant questions. Well, yes, I shall.
Some of the artifacts in the exhibition are actually those that were discovered by the late Sir Aubrey. I thought you would be interested in those, but obviously, if not, then you are free to leave. Or, as I said, if you wish to remain in the foyer, that is up to you.
That's very kind of you. We will see you shortly.
Okay.
Is his sorry
Mhm.
is his assistant? Does his assistant sit directly out the front of his office?
Yeah. So he opens the door and he lets you out back into the waiting room where his assistant is. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And he says, Mr. Henry, can you take these two gentlemen back to the foyer? Make sure that they are looked after. So John stands up and says, of course. This way. And leads you out of the room. We all go out the door together.
Mm-hmm.
You all have to go back to the main foyer. And then those of you who wish to go and see the exhibition have to go up the stairs to the second floor. So is it just you and is it Lex and Douglas that are staying behind?
Yeah. I'm going to engage the assistant with conversation.
As we go out, I'm going to whisper to Douglas, keep Johns busy.
Mm-hmm. I will nod.
Okay. Right. So you go. So the other two go upstairs with Edward Gavigan. Okay. So Johns brings the other two, you two, through to the front foyer where the desk is, where the desk clerk was sitting, who's still sitting there now. And then he goes back down the corridor towards the waiting room.
Oh, I'm going to try and engage him with conversation so that he doesn't leave us.
Okay.
I'm going to ask him if he could provide me with a little overview of the history of the foundation, and then beyond that, I'm interested in how membership works, and also how Mr. Gavigan became the director of the foundation after the death of Sir Aubrey. Was he elected?
Yeah, he kind of just shuts you off as you start talking to him. So I'm sorry, sir, I'm busy.
I'm terribly sorry. That's
He turns like literally just turns around and walks down the corridor away from you.
rude.
Well, he can always get a job as a doctor's receptionist. Things can sour.
No, he couldn't be doctor's receptionist because we actually got to see.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He actually made an appointment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a second, I'm checking something.
As soon as we get to the door of the wherever these exhibits are,
You're going upstairs, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to say, oh my goodness, Mr. Gavin, I've just realised I've left my glasses down in your office. Carry on with Stanton. I'll just pop down and pick them up. I'll catch you up in a minute. Without them, I won't be able to enjoy these wonderful exhibits. I'll be back presently, and I'll just
He says no,
straight away.
No, of course, we'll wait for. Okay, he runs down after you. I'll come with you. Don't worry.
No need.
No, I don't like people in my office without me being there. It's just a funny thing that I am. I'm a very private man.
I'm sure Mr. Johns can help me.
It's fine. I will help you find your glasses. Do not worry.
I think I left them on your desk.
Okay, he follows you back up the corridor. Mr. Johns is in the room, in the waiting room, and you go through. You open the door, and the glasses are there. Oh, good. There they are.
Thank goodness for that. Well, shall we head up?
Oh dear, we seem to have run out of time. I do apologise. I didn't realise what the time was. Maybe we have to do this another time. I have an appointment in a few minutes.
In the meantime, I'm going to ask the person on the door if there is a gentleman's room that I may be able to visit.
Yes, there is. Hold on a second. Just trying to find out where the toilets are. Yeah, literally, as you came into the double doors, off the main kind of foyer area where the desk is that the original clerk was sat, the first door on the right is the toilet. So you literally, and the doorman just points to that door. Yes, there you go. The gentleman's toilet is there.
Well, thank you. I shall go to the toilet. As I can I be seen as I head towards the toilet from reception? The guy.
Yeah. The reception literally is just like a big open reception area, and the door for the toilet opens directly off that area. The desk's right in the middle of that reception area.
As I've been walking around, do they have fire alarms?
Yeah, they do. And you can see them. We have seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Stanton, you're waiting upstairs.
Yes. Yeah, now, did he open the doors to the expedition?
No, he didn't. No, you didn't.
Oh, but I'll try the door handle anyway.
Okay, he comes back out of his office. Edward Gavigan does with you, Jacob, and you walk out into the waiting room where Johns is, and then back into the corridor that leads into the foyer. Takes you up to the foyer.
Okay.
He says, "Can you, Mr. Fitzwarren?" says Senior, standing at the top of the stairs. "I'm afraid I've run out of time. Unfortunately, we'll have to rearrange the exhibition visit."
Oh, so sorry. Yes, of course. I'd be delighted to come. I'll walk down the stairs as I'm talking.
Yes, I'm terribly sorry.
Totally understand. Your time is very precious.
Well, the half an hour went past so fast. I do apologise, but yes, maybe sometime next week if you could make another appointment, and we'll make sure it's for longer next time.
Yes, if you could, I'd be most grateful indeed. And I'll sort of lean into him a little bit. I do apologise if my investigators' friends' business I'd sort of kept quiet, but we're trying to be discreet for the sake of the Carlyle family.
Yes, as you can appreciate, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Also, there are things that we don't want getting into the papers.
No, of course not. There are things that the papers and their readers just don't need to know.
Well, no, exactly.
and also for the privacy of the families involved. We don't want just gossip being trawled through the gutter. Not at all. No.
No, that certainly wouldn't do. So anyway, please excuse my rudeness. I'd say if you make another appointment with Mr. Johns, I assure you he'll be a lot more accommodating next time.
Okay.
There's my next appointment. So I must say goodbye for now.
Okay, I'll lean forward to shake his hand.
Okay, he shakes you all by the hands.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
Shake-
for your
shake-
time, Mr. Gavigan.
Shakes, and also Lex, are you standing in the foyer still?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where are you, Douglas? You still in the toilet?
No, what I was going to try and do was if I'm not being looked at by the person in the foyer, I was going to try and pull a fire alarm.
Yeah, it's going to be. Because it's an open foyer. Literally, you're about 15 paces away from the desk.
Okay, I don't. Yeah,
So,
it's not that big.
I mean, it's very. I mean, you can try it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be really, really difficult.
Yeah. Okay. I won't bother them.
We can get Maverick when we come back.
It's not Maverick. It's a measured plan. Okay, I shall use the facilities
Okay.
in the
And
forlorn
then-
hope that there's a fire alarm in the facilities. It's all right. I was planning on setting fire to a basket in there, but I won't. All right, I'll leave.
Well, you come out into the foyer, and the rest of them
Yeah.
are just saying goodbye to Mr. Gavigan. He shakes you by the hand, but he doesn't look at you, and you get the impression he's not very happy with you.
It's all right. I'm not very happy with him.
Okay. You head out
Hmm.
down the steps outside into.
Well, I guess back to Brown's for dinner then.
Yes, he wasn't telling us everything that he knew.
And season 3 kicks off pretty much the way season 2 ended, with somebody lying to us and keeping secrets. Thanks for joining us. Please come back next week for more Masks of Nyarlathotep.